So we've been composing this new piece for choir, and we have a really good idea of what the notes are going to be from beginning to end. But what about the lyrics?
Choral music from scratch.
There isn't a whole lot of new music material that I've added, but I did want to take a few moments and dedicate an episode to a big aspect of the choral music that I have not yet touched upon, that you might have noticed so far, and that is the text. What in the world are we going to be doing for the text? So I typically do not write text before I write the music, or I don't usually pick a text and then set music to it. I just like to write the music and just hear the music, and then more often than not, the music just speaks on its own at some point. And I'm finally at a point where the music, I feel like, is starting to speak to me. And so I just wanted to point out a couple examples of how that is playing out right now. And so as you can see right here, we have the solo, the main melody the first time, and there's only a few words that have kind of stuck out to me. And so first of all, I could kind of hear the words, something about a voice calling. And again, I don't necessarily know what the context of this is going to be. I still just got to wait and kind of flesh things out. But I hear something along the lines of, "Da-da, voices calling, can't ignore it now," or something like that. And so and as you can see, there's the other words. And again, I don't know if I'll actually make the words that exactly, but that's kind of the feel that I'm hearing. There's a voice that is calling, and you finally come to a point where it's like, all right, I can't ignore this anymore, and I've got to spring into action. Now, again, what kind of action? What is the context of this action? I do not know. Like, I don't know if this is going to be dark or hopeful or adventurous. Maybe a mix of both. So I don't know. And then there's one other point, and again, I don't know how to explain this, but I could hear the words right here on this part. I'll play this part on these notes. Right there. Just might be one and the same. Something about the voices, or it sounds like there's multiple voices, but then you actually realize, no, it's actually just one voice. It's me, or it's something. I don't know. Again, I know this might sound very abstract, but I just want to be completely transparent in how I usually go about writing the text, and this is a great example of how I'm slowly hearing bits and pieces, and so again, we'll just see where this goes from here. I don't think there's any other text. This little section here, this is a newer section I've written, and right now I think I'm just hearing some oohs and ohs and ahs right here. Specifically up in the ladies' parts. Meanwhile, the men would have the main melody down here going to the second verse. So again, we'll see how this all pans out, but just wanted to kind of take a moment and show y'all this is how I start to begin to formulate what the text is even going to look like. So now that I had a solid foundation of the music as well as a good start to the lyrics, I decided to move the score into Sibelius, which is a music notation software on my computer. This way I could more easily put in the lyrics and play around with different ideas for the piece. We are now approaching, we already are in the final stages of the writing process. The vast majority of the music has been written at this point, and so I have now put everything that I have into Sibelius. This is the music notation software that I use once I'm actually ready to make the music look nice, and that's what we call engraving, which we'll do in one of the next couple episodes. But for right now, another big reason I put it into Sibelius is so that I can start putting in the actual text, which, as you can see, I have begun to do. Now, that's the biggest thing that I'm still working on, is the text. So I have figured out what I want to do for these first couple lines here. I can hear a whisper in the wind, where it comes from. I know not. You know what? I'm actually gonna. That sounds a little too fancy compared to the rest of the text. So I'm just gonna say, I don't know, because it just, that style of writing didn't fit with everything else that I've written. But yeah. So there's a voice that's calling out my name. Though I've tried to turn away, I can't ignore it now. So now, fully going on that theme of there is a voice that the speaker is hearing, calling to them, calling them to action and to change. And so that is kind of what I'm working on figuring out. And so this next verse, follow me and I will make you someone new. I have this in quotations because this is supposed to be like what the actual voice is saying to the speaker. So it's kind of going back and forth a little bit. Again, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to navigate that, because after that, this is where I'm still really thinking about what do I want the follow-up to be on that. And then once we get to the section here where the men have this, the main melody, again, I'm not sure what's going to be said there. I don't know if that's going to be the speaker or the voice speaking. That's kind of what I'm still figuring out. And then same with the ladies on this part. Right now I just have them on vowels here, because I mean it would sound good either way, and I really do like vowels, but there is a chance they might end up echoing whatever it is that I give the men to sing right here. And so just want to scroll through and again show you, here's one little line right here, just might lead me home. That's just one of those little snippets I'm hearing. Again, I don't know if I'll do that. Some of the things I originally wrote on the iPad are no longer in here because it just didn't quite fit with what I ended up writing in some of the other sections. And then here at the very end, I definitely want this, the final, climax of the piece. Now the voice is calling out your name. So now it's like the speaker, which is y'all, is now directly speaking to the audience or whoever is listening to this. So I always think that's kind of a cool thing when you have the text saying something, like giving a message throughout the course of the piece, and then at the end it then directs it onto the audience. And sometimes that can be a little cheesy, but I feel like the way this is shaping up, it's going to be okay. But I guess we'll the audience will be the judge of that at the end of the day. But and then finally here we have never be the same. Again, I think this is how I want it to end. Never be the same. And to kind of symbolize that, we are finally cheekily changing key here from D minor to G minor right at the very end. I was thinking about trying to do this earlier on, but I thought, no, I think it'd be kind of cool if it's like you literally, there's just that slight hint of symbolism of, okay, there is a fundamental change that has now happened at the very end as we change keys there. So it's kind of a cool thing. Now, one other thing I wanted to point out too, just a cool little extra realization I had. Again, quite simple, but in this original section here, I just had all of y'all singing on an oo vowel while the soloist sings the first line. However, a very powerful technique that happens in choral music, and I'll be honest, I don't know the official name for this, but I just call it an echo, is when you have the choir just slowly echo what the soloist or another part is saying. So you have the main part, I can hear a whisper, and then everyone echoes whisper in the background, whisper in the wind, So that's kind of what we have going here. And then finally, I say finally, but it's actually the very beginning, these very first few bars, these first 5 bars, I originally, again, everybody was on an oo, and of course the alto part is moving, and I was just going to have the altos on an oo, but then I realized, you know what, no, we can give them just kind of like a reverse echo. It's kind of like a slight foreshadow. Again, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I just thought, what if we had them sing while everyone else is on an oo, you just have the alto part sing, I can hear a voice, and that's it. So you have just ever so slightly, and again, this is all piano, and you can just hear, I can hear a voice, and then you have the soloist go in. So just a couple cool little I guess techniques for writing the text. I really just wanted y'all to be able to see what it looks like when I'm in the middle of figuring out what the text is going to be. It's not all, start to finish. It's just kind of here and there, little tidbits. Funny enough, it's almost like what this piece is already saying. It's like you just hear whispers, right? You just hear whispers all throughout, and it's just a matter of trying to catch those little whispers and put them in the right places. And eventually they all come together. So sometimes it can be a little stressful. It feels like I just want it to be done. I want to get the right words, but I definitely don't want to rush this. And so it might just mean I need to sleep on it and then come back to tomorrow, and maybe I just get a few more words and that's it, and that's okay. So definitely don't want to rush this process, but it's really exciting once we get to this point because it's really taking shape.
1 week later.
Okay, y'all. So I hit a wall in the lyric writing for this piece. And so it has been I don't know if it's been over a week, but it's been about a week since I last looked at this, because I realized, you know what, I just need to let it simmer. I just need to step away from it. I was not coming up with anything. I got a good few lyrics, which you kind of saw on the previous video, but I kind of wanted to show the process of how I'm breaking this down here. So I have my little tablet here, and so I basically, something that I do is whenever I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do with lyrics is I'll write them down, and then I'll try to fill in the blanks. So I've written all of these on my tablet here. So we have, I can hear a whisper in the wind, where it comes from I don't know, but it knows my name. There's a voice that's calling out my name. Though I've tried to turn away, I can't ignore it now. And then it's this verse right here. This is the big one that I'm still trying to figure out. But if we move forward, we skip forward and we have when the voice actually answers. So the voice says, follow me and I will make you someone new. Leave your life behind. I'll give you new sight. And then this is just reiterating that. And then finally, we have when we return to like kind of the drone section, lead the way now. That's the speaker now accepting the voice. And then you finally have, over all these months and years, still the voice appears, echoing, encouraging, and I still need to fill in that last little bit there. But this is where they finally accepted it. And then finally, the final verse is now the speaker talking to you, the listener. So when I'm looking at this, what this tells me is that, okay, we have, number one, we have the acknowledgement. I'm gonna write that in real quick, actually. And then we have the blank spot, but then we have the answer. And I guess that also includes this part here as well. And then finally we have the acceptance, and then the call to action. So what this tells me is that if I'm saying, okay, the speaker is acknowledging, and then we skip something, and then we get to the voice answering, what this tells me is that this verse needs to be a question. This needs to be the person, the speaker, questioning the voice. And so I'll update on the lyrics. I mean, you could probably already see what the lyrics I decided on, but to me, this is definitely what it needs to be. I don't know what the words are going to be specifically, but we'll see how it turns out. So there's a good look at how I came up with the different ideas for the lyrics, and I thought I would take a second to actually read the final official lyrics that I chose for the piece. Now, there were actually a few more lyrics after this point, after discussing with Miss Gleason and her students that were commissioning this piece. They had some ideas for some possible lyric changes, and so I actually did work with them in finalizing those. I won't go into detail here, but I will talk a lot more about that once I release the full-length documentary on how I wrote this piece from start to finish. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, here is what we settled on as the final lyrics of I Can Hear a Whisper. I can hear a whisper, whisper in the wind. Where it comes from, I don't know, but it knows my name. There's a voice that whispers, asking to be found. Though I've tried to turn away, I can't ignore it now. Who's this voice that's calling out to me? What is your intention? Why have you chosen me? What do you see in me? Follow me and leave your way of life behind. I will make you new. I'll give you new sight. Says the voice that calls out my name, not just in my mind. It has not just found me, it's always been right by my side. waiting to lead the way. Lead the way now. Over all these months and years, still the voice is here, whispering, empowering, convicting me. Now the voice is calling out your name. If you take its offer, your life will be forever changed. For the voice is here among us. Once it's heard, the world will never be the same.